After we had a full card on Monday, it's a 4-game Tuesday. It's one of the most well-rounded cards we've seen all year because all 8 clubs are competitive. It should lead to a fun slate of games, so let's go ahead and get into it. Core plays Giannis Antetokounmpo, PFC, Mil, $11,300 DraftKings, $11,700 FanDuel. Antetokounmpo is playing better than he did in his Kia MVP campaign, averaging 62 DraftKings points per game over the last 2 months.
He's also providing a 45-point floor in that span, but we expect him to go nuts against the Lakers. Antetokounmpo had 34 points, 14 rebounds, and 12 assists en route to 77 DK points the last time he faced them. Zion Williamson, PF, NOP, $9,000 DraftKings, $9,400 FanDuel. Williamson has at least 44 DraftKings points in 8 of his last 10 games, dropping 56 fantasy points in his most recent outing.
That's what we've been waiting to see from this stud talent, and he should be at full tilt in a premier matchup with OKC. He had 44 and 52 DK points in his last 2 games against the Thunder. Jimmy Butler, SFPF, Mia, $8,000 DraftKings, $8,700 FanDuel. Playoff Jimmy always gets rolling at this time of the year, and he's doing it again.
The former All-Star has scored at least 35 DraftKings points in 15 of his last 20 games, providing a 44-point average in that span. He needs to do that with Tyler Herro sidelined, and we're not worried about the Warriors.
Golden State owns a 23rd OPRK against opposing forwards, averaging 52 DK points per game against them last year. Cash game considerations: Luka Doncic, PG, Doll, $12,700 DraftKings, $12,800 FanDuel. Doncic leads the league with 66 DraftKings points per game while showcasing a 50-point floor.
He's been even better recently, averaging over 70 fantasy points per game over the last 2 months. We could use him against anyone, but facing Sacramento is special. The Kings rank 23rd in total defense, with Luka averaging 66 DK points per game against them in their 2 meetings.
Domantas Sabonis, PFC, Sac, $10,500 DraftKings, $10,900 FanDuel. Sabonis has one of the highest floors in fantasy, flirting with triple-double averages regularly. A run like that makes him an easy target on a 4-game slate, and we expect him to destroy Dallas.
The Mavs rank 21st in defensive efficiency and 22nd in points allowed. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, PG, SG, OKC, $10,200 DraftKings, $11,000 FanDuel. Gilgeous-Alexander is averaging 53 DraftKings points per game, scoring at least 38 DK points in all but a few games this year. We hate the matchup against a challenging New Orleans defense, but Gilgeous had 31 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists last time they played, despite playing just 32 minutes in that lopsided game.
GPP targets Chris Middleton, SFPF, Mil, $6,700 DraftKings, $7,300 FanDuel. Middleton has scored at least 38 DraftKings points in 8 of the last 10 games he's finished, dropping a triple-double in his most recent outing. This stud can be an $8,000 player in this 30-minute role, and we don't mind that LA allows the 5th most fantasy points to opposing forwards.
Brook Lopez, C. Mil, $5,400 DraftKings, $5,900 FanDuel. Lopez is averaging 31 DK points per game across his last 5 fixtures and still can drop 40 DK points on a good night. That sort of upside is unique from a sub-$6,000 player, especially since the Lakers rank 23rd in points allowed.
Keon Ellis, SG, SF. Sack, $4,500 DraftKings, $5,000 FanDuel. Ellis has been starting at shooting guard in Kevin Huerter's absence, scoring 42 fantasy points just a few nights ago. He's mixed duds and gems in this expanded role, but finding a 40-point upside from a player this cheap is incredible.
The matchup is the icing on the cake, with Dallas posting a 28th OPRK against opposing shooting guards. Value plays Trey Murphy, SF. NOP. $6,400 DraftKings, $6,700 FanDuel. Murphy has started the last 2 games for Ingram, scoring at least 29 DK points in 7 of his last 8 starts in total.
Murph has also maintained a 34-point average across his last 13 fixtures and needs a price bump if he receives 35 minutes and 15 to 20 shots a night. Daniel Gafford, C. Dahl, $6,000 DraftKings, $6,900 FanDuel. Why is Gafford still just $6,000 on DraftKings? This guy was above $7,000 when he was playing for Washington, and he's been just as good since the trade.
DG has scored at least 31 fantasy points in 7 of his last 8 outings, scoring 42 and 50 DK points in his 2 most recent fixtures. That made him a fantasy darling early in the season, and he should have another big night against a 23rd-ranked Kings defense.
Jose Alvarado, PG, NOP, $4,100 DraftKings, $4,400 FanDuel. There are a ton of minutes and shots that need to be made up in New Orleans with Ingram out, and Alvarado looks like one of the beneficiaries. The feisty guard scored 36 DK points across 31 minutes 2 games ago and could be asked to play heavy minutes to oppose SGA.
All you need is 25 DK points from a player in this price range, and getting 35 to 40 would make Alvarado the steal of the slate. Advantageous pricing. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, PG, SG. OKC. $10,200 DraftKings, $11,000 FanDuel. Daniel Gafford, C. Dal, $6,000 DraftKings, $6,900 FanDuel. Trace Jackson Davis, C. GSW, $5,200 DraftKings, $6,300 FanDuel. Chris Paul, PG, GSW, $5,200 DraftKings, $6,000 FanDuel. Anthony Davis, PF, C. Lal, $10,300 DraftKings, $11,500 FanDuel. Jalen Williams, SF. OKC, $6,900 DraftKings, $8,000 FanDuel. De'Aaron Fox, PG, Sack, $8,800 DraftKings, $9,600 FanDuel.